So in the near future, our age of technology, the internet, uh, gaming, streaming, everything, could potentially become a digital dark age. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Say today we wanted to look back at the past and read what some people went through. Easy. We could pick up some scrolls or a book or just whatever that is hardbound copied data. People copied it, people took the time to write it down. The Tale of Beowulf, probably the oldest English writing known to man. It was due to, thanks to some scholars, we've been able to read it because the very first scroll was in Old English. But what about our time? What about the websites and videos and video games and just everything that never made it to VHS or CD or anything like that, or even for CD for that matter? How would somebody in the future read a CD-ROM if it's going to be an obsolete technology? Think about it this way. Say you find in I don't know, an old rental unit or an old house or even in the trash at some point, you find an old 8-track. Well, you can see that it's an 8-track if you know what an 8-track looks like. But how are you going to know what's on it? Let's say the sticker's faded off or the sticker's totally gone, peeled off, and but it has data on it or a cassette tape. How do you know what's on it? And let's say that's maybe 50 years in the future from cassette tapes, which is what we're approaching. There's no cassette players around as much anymore. It's such an obsolete technology. 8-track, for instance. Who do you know nowadays that has an 8-track? Aside from an old uncle or grandma that may have it up in the attic or something like that. How do you know what's on it? So how do we know that people 100 years, 200 years from now are going to know what it is and how to read it? Because the only way we know how is with technology. So that's why I've always loved books, is because they are reliable, if you take care of them, a reliable source of storytelling or history. I've always loved history. So how are people going to look at, say, my videos in the future? I've always thought to myself, because I'm a YouTuber, I've obtained immortality because the internet will always be there. But that can't always be the case. Say a great war broke out and the world went into a technological darkness. There's no electricity. Or say a major sun flare came along and wiped out all of our technology. Everything's gone. Backup servers at Google, everything's fried due to a major EM pulse. It's crazy to think about, right? On the front of gaming, obviously we have gaming consoles, okay? We have ancient games like chess, checkers, pinochle, I guess, playing cards, stuff like that. So I think gaming will always be around in some way, but video games themselves, not always. Not without electricity. So that's the crazy part about this. Even think about handheld video games from the past that used batteries. Okay, so say there's a chance you can still play them a little bit, if assuming batteries actually work. But batteries only last for so long. So what am I getting at here? The thing is that what I was getting back to is that in the future, there's no way of knowing for sure if people will be able to see what we've done during the last 20 to 25 years in technology with the internet and so on into the future. Well, there's some stuff that is being worked on to try to archive stuff like this. There's links down below. You can check it out. There's the Olive Project. And there's a couple others as well. Again, there'll be links down below. They leave my brain for a minute. But what's crazy about technology is that it does become obsolete eventually. Whatever it is, it becomes obsolete. That's a staple of technology. Unless at some point in the future we develop, say, a computer that is constantly being able to be upgraded without having to keep upgrading parts. Say some kind of cell technology that the data is always updated from some source. You don't have to change out parts. It's all done, say, biologically somehow. What I love about Star Trek, they have cell technology, morph technology, all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. In the book, Ready Player One, in stores now, one of my favorite books, Ernest Cline talks about how there is this oasis. It's what the internet evolved into. It was the greatest game you've ever played, and it only cost a quarter. That's what it is. But essentially what it is a VR game that the whole world is turned on to. The coin of the realm on that game, the money, the in-game currency, is more stable than the dollar, than the euro, and pretty much every other form of currency in the real world. That's how much the game has spread and become a lifestyle. Well, in there, users and players are able to design their own housing, their own worlds. And what the creator of the game did was he went through and created different halls of ancient gaming, obsolete gaming technologies. And it starts, of course, in the book, because the book came out a few years ago, but in the book it starts with PlayStation, Xbox, and moves on down to Atari, the very first video game that came out of a college, because that's where gaming came from, if you know your gaming history. And that makes me think, what, we are going to be there at some point. We're already entering that phase. So if the world ever became, say, glued to one big video game, we would be able to log on and do all this with our hands. Because in the book, they have goggles and hands that they do that. They even have full suits. They're even able to create smells, over like 55,000 smells. But the character hardly ever uses it because he says, what's the point of using a smell? So aside from environment effects, but we're entering that. But again, the problem is, what if we lose all electricity in the world? What if we're thrown back into a dark age? How do we save who we are, what we've done on the internet, if we want to? Some people don't care. They can honestly not care. But we've entered a phase and stage of life, and a stage in humanity that without technology, we're going to be lost for the most part. We'll have to regain skills of mapping out lands and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy to think about, but I wanted to touch on it. I've been rambling for almost 9 minutes because, again, it gets the mind flowing, and as a gamer, it makes me wonder, where are we going to be? Because everything's digital download. It's going to digital download. And say we lose the internet, we would at least still have CDs, Blu-ray discs, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. Again, portable gaming devices like the 3DS, which I'm thinking about starting a Pokemon series if I can. So where will it be? Where will we go? It's crazy to think about. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for letting me bend your ear. I'm also currently in talks. I've contacted Audible. I'm trying to get a special discount through my channel for Ready Player One to download it. There is a movie being done by Spielberg, and I am very excited for it. But I'm trying to get a discount for the audiobook for Ready Player One, because I would love for my viewers to watch it. So I think it'll be really cool if I can pull it off. Anyway, again, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Remember, you are an awesome gamer. Never let the world tell you otherwise. Immortality. Whew. Hell of a concept. See ya.